Okay, so now the window that was running the procedure has closed, and you'll notice usually when we finish a simulation, an image simulation, the WX false color window pops up and we have our image. Because of the way we're running this from the batch file and not from within Diva, we're not getting that benefit. So we're actually having to just, this is the image that was created. We're just going to double click it to open it and it basically do the same thing. Okay, so now we can see something similar. We're getting a little bit closer. But we can see there are a few sort of strange things going on. The big thing that's sort of an issue is that we're not getting the full extent of our image here, and so that's the primary thing we're going to change here. The little sort of fuzziness that you see here primarily has to do with sort of probably a light leak issue, which we can resolve. But for now, let's focus on the on getting the size of the image to be properly adjusted. So, just again to keep track of how we're doing, I'm just going to save this as a PNG file. Now, keep in mind that I'm saving this in the temp folder, so don't look for it in the other folder. And click Save. Go ahead and close that. And now we're going to go in and click on TextPad again and open our image file. Now the problem that we're basically having, actually if we look at that image, is that our view isn't extending in the vertical direction enough. It seems to be fine in the horizontal direction, but in the vertical direction we're just not getting it to go all the way. So when we look at our text file, what we want to do actually is change a couple of the values that we have here. And it turns out we don't have to add them, they're already in here, but we will just need to change them. So if we go back to our RPict website or web page, we can see that if we look at VH and VV, these options set the view horizontal size to whatever value we have here and the vertical to whatever value we have after the VV. Now it's important to read this next part, which says for a perspective projection the value is the horizontal field of view in degrees, but for a parallel projection value is the width in world coordinates. So in the coordinates we're using feet. So we're going to want to set these, make sure that we're using a dimension in feet. So go ahead and minimize that, and if we go back to our Rhino file and zoom out a little bit, maybe just probably be a good idea at this point to figure out how big we need our view to be. So if we measure this, we got about 42 feet here. And like I said, we seem to be doing okay on the horizontal dimension, which is 30 feet here. So go back to your text file and look at the VH, which is set to 44. So that's okay because it's greater than 30. And look at the VV. Now that's the one, the vertical dimension is the one that we need to change. So let's try, since our building is 42 feet high, or the part of it that we're looking at, let's try using 60 feet here. So I'm going to go ahead and change both of those values to 60. Now if we were to run this, we have the vertical dimension of 60. It's actually larger than the horizontal view. It gets a little strange because if we move a little bit, scroll over a little bit to the right, we can see that our X and Y pixels are actually set to 1600 by 1200, and this is basically a 3 to 4 if we're looking Y to X ratio, and because we sort of now change that proportion, we have 60 to 45, what we want to do is update the horizontal view so that it reflects the 3:4 relationship that we have for our image size. So if we do the math, it's fairly easy in this case, we'll change the horizontal dimension to 80, and so that should help us quite a bit actually. Okay, so go ahead and save it and go back to your temp file again, to the file where you're, or the folder where you're storing your model information, and go ahead and double click again on that same file that we've been editing to run it. Okay, so our image has now been generated. Again, with this process, it's a little bit different. Instead of creating another file, it simply overwrites the pic file you had in there, but that's okay because we saved the other version here. So go ahead and open it and let's see what happened now. So this looks better. We definitely can see our entire view here, and we're a little zoomed out, but sorry about that. But we basically achieved our goal of producing a parallel view cutaway of the information or of the model that we had. And you can see now why I created the model the way I did with the different fenestration options here, is so that we can see that there is a difference in lighting conditions on that wall there, based on, at least at this time of day, based on the placement of the fenestration. The other reason that this room on the bottom might be receiving more or additional light is actually due to its relationship to the ground plane, as opposed to these rooms which are higher up. So that wraps up our tutorial about editing the Radiance image files and creating a cutaway view of this model. In the next tutorial, I'm going to go over some issues about modeling and light leaks, some of the issues that we see here with the fuzziness. So I hope to see you back then.